What's that? Kamikaze. I don't see that. Where? Oh, well, it's smaller screen right here. Yeah, but I'm about to make it public now. No, we can cut it. All right, let's La Yashal. Hebrew. Okay. Aimani, which means to stand. Sar, Panya Hakudam, which means turn and face the east. Well, Panya Hakudam. It's like that. Okay. What was it? And. Oh, so, yeah, Okam. Come. Panya Hakudam. What Panya Hakudam means and turn and face the east. We're going to do the Lord's Prayer. In the Hebrew, Abanaw, Bashamaya, Wadash, Hayah, Shamka, Yahweh, Malakufka, Taba'ah, Batazaka, Hayah, Aisha, Ba'arataza, Kawa, Hayah, Bashamaya, Thundernaw, Kal, Yawam, Wasalaknaw, Kasalaknaw, Wala'ah, Tabaya'anaw, Sayawan, Abor, Awashaynaw, Mayan, Rai, Kaya, Laka, Hamalakwa, Waha'ala, the power rock, I will love you, Aman, our Father, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth, as it is in heaven, give us this day, our daily bread, and forgive us our debts, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, the power, and the glory, forever, so be it. Hakak, the power in the Hebrew, Yahweh, Bahashim Yahushua, Baba Kwashah, Thundernaw, Hakak, Barapa'ah, Kal Makalah, Kal Madawa, Latahar, Hamatazariah, Hakak, Lahakwiyah, Hamathia, Hakak, Al-Khawa, Hatama'ala, Lagarashan, Bahashim Yahushua, the water Aman. Yahweh. In the name of Yahweh. Please give us the power. The power to heal. All manner of sickness. And all manner of disease. The power to cleanse the leper. The power to raise the dead. The power against unclean spirits. To cast them out. In the name of Yahweh. Thank you. So be it. Psalms 121 in the Hebrew, Asha'ah, Ayanya, Al-Hahariya, Ma'ayan, Yaba'ah, Isaiah, Ma'ayin, Yahweh, Aisha, Shemaiah, Wa'arataza, Ayathan, Lamawak, Regalka, Al-Yanawam, Shamarka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, Wala'ah, Yashan, Shawamar, Yasha'ala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Yahweh, Zalka, Yamyanka, Yawamam, Hashamash, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarak, Balayala, Yahweh, Shamarka, Makalrai, Yashamar, Napashka, Yahweh, Yashamar, Taza'afka, Wabawa'aka, Ma'ayatha, it's like Ma'ayatha, Wa'ai, Awalam, Aman. I will lift up mine eyes into the hill.
I will lift up my eyes into the hill.
From whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help cometh from Yahweh.
My help cometh from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth.
which made heaven and earth.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee,
He that keepeth
will
thee
not slumber.
will not slumber.
Behold,
he
that keepeth
He
Israel
that keepeth
shall
Israel
neither slumber nor sleep.
shall neither slumber nor sleep.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy keeper.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand.
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
The sun shall not smite thee by day,
nor the moon by night.
nor the moon by night.
Yahweh shall preserve thee
Yahweh shall preserve
from
thee
all evil.
from all
He
evil.
shall preserve thy soul.
He shall preserve thy soul.
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
Yahweh shall preserve thy going out
and thy coming in.
and thy coming in.
From this time
From
forth
this time forth,
and even forevermore.
even and even forevermore,
So be it.
so be it. Psalms 83 in the Hebrew. Alahaya,
Alahai,
Al Damaya Laka,
Al Damayalaka,
Al Tacharash,
Al Thacharat,
Wa Al Tashakwat,
Wa Al Tashaqwa,
Al Kayahana,
Kayahana,
Awayabyaka,
Awayabyaka,
Yahama Yawan,
Yahama Yawan,
Wama Shanayaka,
Wamashanayaka,
Nasha'awa,
Nasha'awa,
Ra'ash,
Ra'ash,
Al Aimaka,
Al Aimaka,
Ya'arayamwa,
Ya'arayamwa, Sawad,
Wayata Ya'ai Tazawa,
Wayathaya Aitazawa,
Al Tazapawanyaka,
Al Tazapawanyaka,
Amarwa,
Amarwa,
Kawa,
Wakawa,
Wanakakidam,
Wanakakidam,
Magoya,
Magoya,
Wala'a, Yazakar,
Yazakar,
Sham Yasha'ala,
Shem Yasha'ala,
Kaya,
Kaya.
Now Wa'ai Tazawa.
So like it should be Iwad. Shem Yasha'ala.
Oh, so like it's Sham Yasha'ala.
Shem Yasha'ala.
Iwad,
Kaya.
Kaya, Now Wa'ai Tazawa.
Now Aitazawa.
Lab, Yakabwa,
Yakhadwa,
Audika,
Auyaka,
Baryak,
Baryak,
Yakarafwa,
Yacharakwa,
Ahoya,
Ahoya,
Adawam,
Adawam,
Wayashama Ilayam,
Wayashmaoya,
Mawa'aba,
Mawa'aba,
Wahagaya,
Wahagaya,
the ball, Wa'aimawan,
Wa'aimawan,
Wa'aimalak,
Wa'aimalak,
Kalashak,
Kalashak,
I'm Yashabia,
I'm Yeshabia,
Tazawar,
Tazawar,
Gam Ashawar,
Gam Ashawar,
Nalawa,
Nalawa,
Imam,
Hayawa,
Zarawai,
Zarawai,
Labanya Lawak,
Labanya Lawa, Salah,
Aisha Lahab,
Aisha Laham,
Madyan,
Kamadian,
Kasaya Sara'ah,
Kasaya Sara'ah,
Kayabyan,
Kayabyan,
Banakar,
Banakar,
Wayashwan,
Wayashwan,
Nashamadwa,
Nashamadwa,
Ba'ayan, Ba'ayan Da'ara,
Ba'ayan Da'ara,
Hayawa,
Hayawa, Daman,
La'adama,
La'adama,
Shayathamwa,
Shayathamwa,
Nadayamawa,
Nadayamawa,
Ka'irab,
Ka'irab,
Wakaza'aba,
Wakaza'aba,
Wakazabat,
Wakazabat,
Wakatazalmanai,
Wakatazalmanai,
Kal Nasakamwa,
Kal,
it's like Kal, Nasakamwa,
Nasayakamwa,
it's like Nasakamwa,
Nasayakamwa, Nasayakamwa,
it's like I thought I was saying that. Nasayakamwa,
Nasayakamwa, Ashar, Amorwa,
Nayarasha, Lanawa,
Lanawa,
Na'awa,
Na'awa,
Alahaya,
Alahaya, Alahaya,
Shayathamwa, Kagala,
Kakavila, Kakwash,
Lapanya Racha,
Lapanya Racha, Ka'ash,
Ira Ya'ira,
Tabaira,
Wakalahaba,
Wakalahaba, Talahat,
Haryam, Khan, Tavadatma, Basa'iraka,
Basaira,
Wabasawapaka,
Wabasawapaka,
Tabahalam, Mala'a, Panyaham, Wayabahalwa, it's like it, Kwalawan, Wayabakwashwa, Shamka, Yahawa, Yabashwa, Wayabahalwa, Ayya, Wayachaparwa, Wayabadwa, Wayada'aiwa, Kaya, Atha, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Al, Yawan, Al, Rataza, Amma.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
And hold not thy peace.
And hold not thy peace.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
And be not still, O Yahweh.
For lo, thine enemies make a tumult.
Thine enemies make a tumult.
And they that hate thee, have lifted up the head. They have taken crafty counsel. Against thy people. And consulted. Against thy hidden ones. They have said, Come, and let us cut them off. From being a nation. That the name of Israel
may
be no more remembered.
For they have consulted
together.
For they have consulted together
With one consent.
with one consent.
They are confederate against thee.
They are confederate against thee.
The tabernacles of
The
Edom.
tabernacles of Edom
And the Ishmaelites.
and the Ishmaelites
Of Moab.
of Moab
And the Hagarenes.
and the Hagarenes,
Gabal. And Ammon.
and Ammon
And Amalek.
and Amalek,
The Philistines.
the Philistines,
With the inhabitants of
with
Tyre.
the inhabitants of Tyre.
Asher also is joined with them.
Asher also is joined with them.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
They have hope in the children of Lot.
Salah.
Salah,
Do unto them.
do unto them
As unto the Midianites.
as unto the Midianites,
As unto Sisera.
as to Sisera,
As to Jabin.
as to Jabin,
At the brook of
at
Kissar.
the book of Kassar,
Which perished at Endor.
which perished at Endor.
They became as dung for the
They
earth.
became as dung for the earth.
Make their nobles like a red.
Make their nobles like a red,
And like Zared.
like Zared. Yea,
All their princes.
all their princes,
As Zabah.
as Zabah,
And as Amun.
and as Amunah,
Who said,
who said,
let us take to ourselves
let us take to ourselves
the houses of Yahweh in possession.
the houses of Yahweh in possession.
O my power.
Oh my power,
Make them like a wheel.
make them like a wheel,
As the stubble before the wind.
as the stubble before the wind,
As the fire burneth a wood.
as the fire burneth for wood,
As the flame set the mountains on fire.
and as the flame setteth the mountains on fire.
So persecute them with thy tempest.
So persecute them with thy tempest,
And make them afraid with thy storm.
and make them afraid with thy storm.
Fill their faces with shame.
Fill their faces with shame,
That they may seek thy
that
name.
they may seek thy name.
O Yahweh.
O Yahweh,
Let them be confounded.
let them be confounded
And trouble forever.
and trouble forever.
Yea, let them be put to
Let
shame.
them be put to shame
And perish.
and perish,
That men may know
that men may know
that thou, whose name alone
name alone
is Yahweh,
is Yahweh,
art the most high
art the most high
over all the earth.
over all the earth.
So be it.
So be it. The blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh.
Barakatah Yahweh.
Wa Yahweh Shah.
Wa Yahweh Shah.
Wa Miyakah Yahweh.
Wa Yaka'al.
Wa Alahayim.
Wa Alahayim.
Matazab Yah.
Matazab Ya'ah.
Alawat Yahana.
Alawak Yahana.
Ha Alawakyim.
Ha Alawakyim.
Ha Saranyim.
Ha Serenium.
Ha Kutazayanyim.
Ha Quatazayanyim.
Ha Kayayoyim.
Ha Kayayoyim.
Wa Ha'akwakyim.
Wa Ha'akwakyim.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
Ba'ashim Yahweh Shah.
Hashim Yahweh Shah.
The water
The
Aman.
water Aman. Bless you, Yahweh.
Bless you Yahweh.
And Yahweh Shah.
And Yahweh Shah.
And Michael.
And Michael.
And the angel.
And the angel.
Commanding General Yahweh.
Commanding General Yahana.
The captains.
Like
The generals.
the general.
The captains.
The captain.
The
officers.
The troopers.
The troopers.
And the sisters.
And the sisters.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
In the name of Yahweh Shah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So be it.
So be it.
All right. God. Blessed are you, Yahweh.
Blessed are you, Yahweh.
King of heaven and earth.
King of heaven and earth.
And all things living.
And all things living.
Yahweh.
Yahweh.
In the name of Yahweh
In the
Shah.
name of Yahweh Shah.
Listen to us now.
Listen to us now.
Right now.
Right now.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and
And
destruction.
punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
That speak against
That
us.
speak against
Thy
us.
prophets.
Thy prophets.
The teachers.
The teachers.
The princes.
The princes.
The priests.
The priests.
The Israelite brothers.
The Israelite brothers.
And the school.
And the school.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and curses.
And punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the heathen.
To the heathen.
And shake loose the
And
treasure.
shake loose the treasure
Of the rich of Israel.
of the rich of
That
Israel.
refuse to give to the school.
That refuse to give to the school.
Force their riches.
Force their
To
riches.
enter into thy
To
sanctuary.
enter thy sanctuary.
Send evils and curses.
Send evils and
And
curses.
punishment and destruction.
And punishment and destruction.
To the Edomites.
To the Edomites.
And the nation.
And the nation.
And their drug
And the
dealers.
drug dealers.
The court system.
The court system.
The prison system.
The prison system.
Planned Parenthood.
Planned Parenthood.
All the governments of our
All the
enemies.
governments of our enemies.
Amalek synagogues and armies.
Amalek synagogues and
The
armies.
Roman Catholic Church.
Roman Catholic Church.
Pope.
The Pope.
Egyptology.
Egyptology.
Aryan nation.
Aryan nation.
The lesbian
The
movement.
lesbian movement.
Spies. Workers of witchcraft.
Workers of witchcraft.
NASA space program.
NASA space program.
Army. Navy. Air Force. Marine. Wall Street. Open up the internet.
Open up the internet.
And the airways.
And the airways.
Cable access.
The cable access
And the
channel.
radio channel.
And the radio channel.
Convict the spirit.
Convict the
Of any
spirit
of thy people.
of any of thy people
That seek to stop us.
that seek to stop
And
us.
bring swift destruction.
And bring swift destruction
To all the heathen.
to all the
That
heathen
stand in the way.
that stand in the way.
Try to stop us.
Or try to stop us.
Broadcasting your word.
From broadcasting your word
Throughout the planet Earth.
throughout the planet Earth.
Let loose all the
Let
plague.
loose all the plague.
Let 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 loose all the plague.
Cause them to go to and fro.
Cause them to go to and fro
Through the earth.
through the earth.
And consume them.
Consume them.
Let the plague.
Let the plague
Shake the house.
shake the house
Of the thief and the murderer.
of the thief and the murderer.
Let Yahweh Shah.
Let Yahweh Shah.
Michael and Gabriel.
Michael and Gabriel
Come down.
come down
with the flying saucers,
with the flying
and
saucers,
punish all the heathen
and punish all the heathen
that come up against us,
that come up against
as
us,
we speak thy word.
as we speak thy word,
Cause it to be known by all,
cause it to be known by all,
that it is the angels
that is the angels
that have done it.
that have done it,
Cause it to be spread
cause it to be
through
spread
the media,
through the media,
throughout the whole world,
world,
from the shake at thy coming.
cause them to shake at thy coming.
In the name of Yahweh,
In the name of Yahushua,
thank you.
thank you,
So be it.
so be it.
Saw, which means to turn. Shabim, which means to be seated. Right? So we be in out next week. Let's do our chicken. $28 and which verse 7. All right, we're going to Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 7. Everybody, just make sure you sign in. Name, city, and state for attendance. Everybody attending. You on Facebook, you on YouTube, you on Tumblr, you on Twitter, you on Instagram. You understand? You on TikTok. Everybody, make sure you sign in. Name, city, state for attendance. We'll be starting at verse 8. We'll be starting at 7. I was starting at verse 8. All right, so we're going to start at in Deuteronomy chapter 28 and verse 8. Yitazawa, Yahweh, Azka, Af, Habaraka, Ba'asamat, Ba'asamya, Wabakal, Mashalach, Yadak, Wabakarak, Ba'arataza, Ashar, Yahweh, Alahayaka, Nathan, Laka, verse 9, Yakwaya Mak, Yahweh, Lawa, La'ain, Quadash, select. Quadawash. I like it should be Quadash. Quadawash and Shah should be connected, should still be Quadash. Quadash. Ka'ashar. Nashabai. Laka. Kaya. Thashamar. Af. Matazawaf. Yahweh. Alahayaka. Wahalakaf, Badarak Yawa. Verse 10. Wara'awa, Ka, Imya, Ha'arataza, Kaya, Shum, Yahweh, Nakwara'a, Al-Yaka, Wayara'awa, Mamak, Mamaka, verse 9. Wahayatharak, Yahweh, Latawaba, Baparya, Batanak, Wabaparya, Bahamathka, Wabaparya, Adamathka, Al, Ha'adama, Ashar, Nashabai, Yahweh, La'abathyaka, Lathaf, Laka, verse 12. Wapathach, Yahweh, Laka, our Tazarwa, Hatawab, Hashamyam, Lathaf, Matar, Aratazak, Ba'aithawa, Wala Barak, Ka, Ma'aisha, Yadak, Wahala, and ya wahala wahala ya wahala ya la wahala wa ya wahala ya gawoyam rabayam wa atha la'a thalawa. Verse 13. When the thun wahatana Yahweh la ra'ash wala'a lazanab wahayaya qara'a lama'ala wala'a sahayaha lamata kaya tashamai al matazawaf Yahweh alahayaka ashar anakya matazawak Yahweh the day hayawam the day okay hayawam lashamar wala aishawaf. Right. Verse 14. Ooh, 15. 14. Okay, verse 14. Wala'a tasawar. Tasawar makal hadabaryam ashar anakya matazawa athakam hayawam yamayam washama wa'al lalakaf looks like lalakaf akharya ala alahayam hakaryam like akaryam la'ibadam. Okay, this is verse 14. All right, and now in English,
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 8. Yahweh shall command the blessing upon thee in thy storehouses, and in all that thou settest thy hand unto, and he shall bless thee in the land which Yahweh thy power giveth thee. So right now we're in the book of Deuteronomy chapter 28. Now this right here, right? This is the Lord giving the blessings if Israel hearkened to his words. So to give you a backdrop, the Lord did not give you a choice. All right? The Lord never gave blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans a choice to do anything. There was no free will. There was no I'm gonna do what I want, or I'm gonna do what I feel is right, or what I feel like I should be doing. The Lord never dealt so with Israel at all. The Lord gave Israel, if anything, an ultimatum. Either you do this or you do that. And if you don't do it, this is what's going to happen. If you do this, this is what's going to happen. The Lord has always explained throughout the Bible that he wants us to listen to him and hearken to his words. And these words that the Lord is referring to is God's laws, statutes, and commandments. All right? Verse 9. Yahweh shall establish thee, the Most High shall establish thee an holy people unto himself, as he hath sworn unto thee, if thou shalt keep the commandments of the Most High power and walk in his ways. So the Lord said, if we listen to his laws, statutes, and commandments, and we keep his laws, not eating pork, not eating shrimp, not eating lobster, keeping the Sabbath, not being a homosexual, not being a lesbian, not being a supporter and an ally to the LGBTQIA plus community. Like, these are different laws that the Lord wants us to follow. If we stop being child molesters and sleeping with whores and prostitutes and watching pornography, these are things that are against the Lord. The Lord wants us not to do these things. That would mean that you are keeping the law if you don't do those things, all right? So literally it says, right, the Lord will establish thee an holy people unto himself, meaning he's going to keep us separate unto himself. If we keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments, we will literally be separate and set apart to him, and him alone. That's how important it is for so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans to keep the laws of God, to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments. Verse 10. And all the people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Most High, and they shall be afraid of thee. So they'll know. So in verse 10 it says, and all people of the earth. So not just, it said all the people of the earth, right? Because there are different types of people on this planet. There are different types of people on this earth. We are not the same. In one breath, the Lord wants you to understand and separates the nation of Israel from all other nations and races of people. This is something that needs to be understood. This is something that we need to understand. It says, and all people of the earth shall see that thou art called by the name of the Most High, right? And they shall be afraid of thee. So because we keep these laws, statutes, and commandments, because we keep God's laws, we don't eat pork, we don't eat shrimp, we don't eat lobster, we're not eating tuna fish and tilapia and all these other fishes that are on like a puffer fish and etc. and jellyfish, if you could eat it, or sharks and whales and all these other fishes that don't have fins and scales. By us not being prostitutes and whores and buying sluts on the internet and etc., and not watching pornography, having a whole bunch of orgies and threesomes and all this other stuff, like these are different laws in the Bible that the Lord wants us to not do. Like these are laws that he wants us to keep, is to not do these things, right? And just by doing them, right, all the people on the earth are going to know that we are the Lord's, that we are the people of the Most High. And guess what? And the Lord also said, and they shall be afraid of thee. Meaning we are going to put fear in their eyes because they know that the Lord is with us. Our power is so strong. Our power is all, like, if you don't know anything about the God of the Bible, the Lord is a man of war, right? That's in the Bible. The Lord is a man of war. These other nations, these other people are going to be afraid of us because they know that the Lord is a man of war. And when the Lord is on the side of so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, no one is going to be able to defeat the Israelites because the Lord is on the side of the Israelites. Everybody understands that? All right. Let's continue reading. Verse 11. And the Most High shall make thee plenteous in goods, in the fruit of thy body, and in the fruit of thy cattle, and in the fruit of thy ground, in the land which the Most High sware unto thy fathers to give thee. So the Lord said we're going to be plenteous in goods. Like the Lord is explaining us how we are going to be wealthy and well put off in our own nation, in our own land, if we keep the laws of the Most High. Like it's very important to understand, and this is something that a lot of our Christian folks, these Christians miss, and these big black politicians miss, and these Christian black leaders miss. You are not going to be able to build economic wealth in the black community unless the Lord is with you. That's something that we have to understand. If you are not keeping God's laws, statutes, and commandments, and the Lord is not with you, you can forget about building economic wealth. In order to build wealth, in order to build economic structure, it does involve money. But how do we generate this wealth? It comes from the land. It comes from the fruits and vegetables and trees. So like I said, and things, it comes from the trees. It comes from the earth. Everything that's created, medicine, comes from the earth. Different chemicals that are generated come from the earth. Your medicine comes from the earth. Everything comes from the earth. The wheels on your tire from a rubber tree comes from the earth. different foods that we eat every day come from the earth. And we go to these stores and we buy them. We go to fruit markets and things like that. This is how you build a economic structure. All right? And the Lord is saying if you do not keep his laws, statutes, and commandments, you can forget about generating economic wealth. I'm on verse 12. Verse 12. The Most High shall open unto thee his good treasure, the heaven, to give the rain unto thy land in his season, and to bless all the work of thine hand. And thou shalt lend unto many nations, and thou shalt not borrow. Wait a minute. Verse 12, sir. Go ahead. Can you read it? We going to 14? Verse 13. And the Most High shall make thee the head, and not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath.
Now this is something important that the Lord wants us to see. These are only conditional. The problem is the Christian church teaches our people. Everybody make sure y'all thumb up, like, share these videos. We can grow this school. So it'll be one less of our and your nieces and nephews found shot to death somewhere in Virginia. You understand? The more this truth grows and spread, the more chance the Lord will have mercy on our people that are in the world and not have them found dead in the streets like so many of our brothers and sisters. Right. Now, these things are blessings the Lord said would come to us, but they are conditional. That's if we obey the Most High. You understand? The Christian church teaches us to ignore basic reading comprehension. These are conditionals. These are terms and the benefits to the contract if we kept them, which is the covenant of the Most High. And now we get into the consequences if we did not keep the terms of the contract. This was an oath that we swore, that our forefathers swore to the Lord, that there is no way for us to get out of. Generations, centuries later, you cannot choose to be someone else. You're not free to choose who you want to be. Right. If you were born a man with a rod between your legs and a pair of testicles, you're not free to choose to be a woman. Right. Our oppressor tells you have freedom and choice. You don't have the freedom or choice to smoke weed or cigarettes. You don't have the freedom to be a lesbian or homosexual. You don't have the freedom to eat pork, crab, shrimp, and lobster. Our oppressor uses our sins against us. Right. While you're having fun in the rebellion, while we're having fun thinking that your freedom is what life is really about. Life is really about rules and what you will not do. That's what life is about. The brother, Officer Urash, is talking about economic stability. We don't have economic stability as a people because of all of our freedoms. And those freedoms being sins against the Most High that the Lord told us not to do. The reason why that we would be above and not beneath is because we didn't have interracial marriages and all of the wealth stayed amongst us. Our sons and daughters were strong and loved each other because they could not join a white man and go be Sleeping Beauty and Snow White. They had to stay with a sister. We had to be amongst each other. That's what made us strong. That freedom to integrate and have interracial marriages, that destroyed our people. Right. The freedom to join America's government and their military and their police force, that took all our strong and our brightest minds and elevated traitors to status of wealth and power in this empire, like Al Sharpton, a drug dealer, you understand, like Jesse Jackson, a murderer that helped black women get the rights to abort. How many billion? Where we at? 18 million babies since Roe versus Wade. That's what happens. Or Martin Luther King, who told us to integrate. Right. You understand? With the same people that killed him. You understand? This is how we become strong. And we have to reverse it by changing the way that we think, by renewing our mind according to what the Lord wants us to do in these scriptures. So keep reading, brother.
And not the tail. And thou shalt be above only, and thou shalt not be beneath. If that thou hearken.
Hold on, what?
If.
What did the Lord say?
If.
It's automatically.
If.
I'm blessed and highly favored.
If.
It's if. If is conditional, meaning this is not a guarantee. It's not automatic. You can become a doctor if you go to school, you study, you pass your courses and your classes, and you are approved.
Right.
You understand? It's not automatic. You have to earn it. You have to do work. It's based on your performance. The Christian church, the only people on the planet that have been so bewitched by the Christian church and the Muslim mosques to think that things will automatically happen for us, even though we don't obey the terms of the contract that we expecting the benefits for. That's so evil that the Christian preacher refuses to teach our people this, man. Right. Keep going.
If that thou hearken unto the commandments of the Most High Power, which I command thee this day.
Which I what?
Command thee this day.
It's just a suggestion.
Command thee this day.
If you want to.
Command thee this day.
You could choose an alternative to the Lord's commandments.
Command thee this day.
They call it an alternative lifestyle. You got an alternative to the commandments, right?
Command thee this day.
Commandment is an order. The Lord didn't give you a choice. It's an ultimatum. A choice means you can do this or you can do that. The Lord gave an ultimatum, meaning if you don't do what I say, here is how bad it's going to get for you. That's exactly what the scriptures are saying. This isn't an alternative lifestyle. The alternative is, these are my rules that the Lord is saying, and this is how you're going to die for breaking them. Right. That's what the Bible says. It doesn't have anything to do with free will and all. None of that is in the Bible. You understand? That comes from our oppressor, who is the devil that the Bible speaks of.
That's right.
So that if you are a brother or sister that is enticed because you were molested as a child, like so many brothers and sisters were, it may appeal to you to be in America's LGBT community. But God said you cannot be a man lying with another man. Right. He will give you AIDS. Right. That's why AIDS is so high amongst the Native American homosexual community, the black, lesbian, and homosexual community, the Hispanic, lesbian, and homosexual community. We are number 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Behind Asian hate, behind white supremacy, behind all the other nations of people. Behind sub-Saharan Africa, where they don't have hospitals and medicine and they take dumps in the drinking water and get cholera. You understand? We have more AIDS than they do. Why is that? Because the Lord has given ultimatums right here in the scriptures. Right. Keep going.
I command thee this day to observe and to do them.
Right.
Verse 14. And thou shalt not go aside from any of the words.
From what?
From any of the words.
That was in the past.
From any of the words.
A little here, a little there.
From any of the words.
I changed my mind.
From any of the words.
T.D. Jakes says the church needs to change their views to update to modern society on homosexuality. T.D. Jakes said that.
From any of the words.
Any of the words. The Lord said, I change not. The scriptures say Jesus Christ the same yesterday, today, and forever. You understand? Who changed the truth of God into a lie?
Right.
Who told you something changed? Who said it was okay to eat pork? That's not what Christ said. Christ said in Matthew 5 and 17, think not that I come to destroy the law or the prophets. I didn't come to destroy but to fulfill. He made that very clear. Your preacher lying and stealing all of your money. You understand? Keep going.
Which I command thee this day, to the right hand and to the left, to go after other gods.
To go after what?
Other gods.
Mother's Day, the worship of the goddess Maya. To do what?
Other gods.
Christmas, the worship of Nimrod, the Egyptian, the Babylonian king, and his mother Semiramis. To do what?
Other gods.
That weed you smoking, that dreadlocks growing out of your head, the worship of the Hindu goddess Shiva. To do what?
Other gods.
That heroin you shooting, the Greek goddess Hera, make you bold and fearless and not fear pain. That's the worship of another god. To do what?
Other gods.
To be a witch, to practice witchcraft, to sell your Percocets and your Mollies, smoking those cigarettes. You understand? Getting high is practicing witchcraft. Is the worship of other gods. You understand? What else would he say?
To go after other gods.
That bald head you doing, taking the customs of the Egyptians, them shape-ups and lines you cutting in your head, that the Lord forbid us to worship Pharaoh and his customs.
Your vote, you voting for mayor and senate and Democrat and president. You understand? That's a heathen custom. The Lord said, learn not the ways of the heathen. You understand? Homosexuality is the ways of the heathen. You understand? A man dressing up like a woman. That's what they did in Egypt. That transvestite, that transsexual, all of that come from ancient Egypt, man. These are customs and gods the Lord told us not to worship. To do what? After other gods. Allah, that rock in the Middle East. You understand? Tons of black people into Islam and 5%ers and more and all of these different things that have nothing to do with black people. The Moors had a treaty so that they did not go into slavery. You are in the ghetto because your people didn't get a part of the treaty. You're in America because you were sold into slavery. You understand? You're not the Moors. You're the people the Moors sold.
Right.
You're not the real Muslims. The Muslims sold you into slavery. That's why you're in America. You understand? We're not to join these other nations of people. These are other gods. And these are also the reason why the other nations are over us. Why we are not above, we are beneath. Because you're a Muslim and you help Arab stores and sell Arab drugs. And the Korean stores and their drugs. If we obeyed the Lord and did not integrate, none of them would have businesses in our neighborhood. All of the wealth and the money would stay with our people. We would be above and not beneath, just like the scripture said. But only if we obey God's commandments, which we did not, and these are the results. This is the ultimatum that God gave that he said was going to happen if we did not keep his commandments. All right? Any more on that? To serve them. To serve them. All right? 15? We didn't read 15. We stopped at 14. All right. You want 14? You want to take 15 on down? All right. Yeah.
Deuteronomy chapter 28 verse 15. Wahaya am la'a tashamai bakawal Yahweh alahayaka lashamar la ashawak at kal matazawak yuwa wahakwa yuwa ash anakya matazawaka hayawam waba'awa alyaka kal hakulal hakwa slaki wahakulalwa ha'ala wahashana slaki wahashayad waka. Verse 16. Our war atha ba'ayar our war slaki wa our war atha bashada. Verse 17. Our war tanaka it's like it tanak like it tanaka wamasha'ash wamasha'artha wamasha'arthaka like it Wama Asharatka. Verse 18. Our war, Harya, Batanka, Batanka, Wafarya, Adamatka, Shagar, Alpayaka. It's like Alapyaka. What I shot. It's like it. What I should the rock. Taza'anka. Verse 19. Our war. Atha. Babaka. What our war. Atha. Bataza'afka. Verse 20. Yashalak Yahweh Ba'an Hasema Ma'ara Hamahawa, Ha Mahawama, Wa'at, Hamaga'arata, Salakia, Hamaga'arat, Maga'ira, Bakal, Mashalak, Yadka, Ashar, Ta'aisha, Ai, Hamashad, Hashamadka, Wa'ai, Abadka, Mahar, Mapanya Rai, Ma'alika, Ma'ailalika. It's like Ma'ailalika, Ashar, Isabaknaya. Verse 21. Yadabak, Yahweh, Bad, Salakia, Baka, Yahweh Baka, Hadabar, Kalakwa, Afka, Ma'al, Adama, Ashar, Athar, Ba'a, Shema, Larashah, Ha. All right. That's it on verse 21. In the English, Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 15. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Most High thy power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes. Come, sir. Just we're turning to the right.
Come on.
Oh, Salaki, sir. I don't think I have one.
Go ahead.
Come. But it shall come to pass, if thou wilt not hearken unto the voice of the Most High power, to observe, to do all his commandments and his statutes, which I command thee this day, that all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. So the Lord is saying, if you do not, now said, if you don't listen to my laws and don't keep my commandments and my laws, my statutes, commandments, this is what's going to happen. All these curses are going to come upon thee. When we do not keep the laws of God, we become a cursed people. When you're coming into the truth, you may hear this over and over again, that we are a cursed people. We are a cursed people. If you listen to Kendrick Lamar, you probably heard it in his album, we're a cursed people. You hear a lot of brothers say that we are a cursed people. Well, here is why they are saying it. Because the Lord says, if you do not keep his laws, statutes, commandments, all these curses shall come upon thee and overtake thee. Meaning it's going to utterly destroy you. These curses are going to overtake you. When you overtake something, think about war. When you're overtaking something, meaning it's going to overpower you. You're not going to be able to stop it. So if you do not take this seriously and keep the commandments of the Most High and keep his laws, statutes, commandments, these curses are going to overtake you. All right, now let's see what these curses are. Verse 16. Cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Like, this is very important to understand. It says, cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. Understand this. No matter if you're in the city, it doesn't matter if you're in the suburbs, you're in the country, whatever you are, the Lord said, cursed shall thou be in the city, and cursed shall thou be in the field. These curses are going to overtake you no matter where you go. You can be under the water, you can be on the moon, you can be on Mars, you can be in Jupiter, no matter where you go. If you are black, Hispanic, and Native American, and you are not keeping the laws of God, these curses are going to overtake you. Come on, sir. Are going to overtake us. Verse 17, if you don't come into this truth in the Isupk and do not learn how to keep God's laws, statutes, and commandments, you are in danger of these curses of completely overtaking. All right? You have to get that clear too as well. All right? Verse 17, Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Verse 17.
Tell them what book he is.
Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 17. Deuteronomy chapter 28, verse 17. Cursed shall be thy basket and thy store. Verse 18.
Hold on. That's a point there. It can be very easy to miss what was just said. The first part is said, this is why it's if, ands, and buts are so very important when you read them in Scripture.
Okay.
The first thing that the Lord said was, curse shall be thy basket. Your basket is when you are going shopping. Meaning your basket is going to have a curse on it. So that you're not going to be able to get everything you need. So that you're not going to have the amount that you need. The quality is not good. There's a big difference between the basket with the good fruit and the good food and the good groceries and the good medicine, and then the ones that's in our communities. There's a big difference between the Safeway and the food line and the shoppers. And then when our oppressor moves in, here comes Trader Joe's. There's good, healthy food in Trader Joe's. The lettuce is fresh. The ginger is not molded. You understand? The apples are fresher. The spinach lasts longer. The chicken is healthier. You understand? It's got less spots and dots all on it there. And it costs more. You understand? What else? Whole Foods, Trader Joe's. Those are your signs that everybody ethnic, if you're a black or Hispanic, it's time to get moved out. Rent's going up. Insurance is going up. It's time for you to move and go ahead and start enrolling your kids in another school, because you're going to have to move soon. Gentrification is coming.
Right.
The scripture said your basket would be cursed and thy store. It didn't say in thy store. It said and thy store. Our store is so cursed that we don't have stores in our communities anymore.
Right.
All of the nations in our community, they have the stores that we used to have. That's a curse. The Chinese man selling us chicken is a curse. They don't eat chicken in China. They eat bats. That's where the damn coronavirus comes from. They eat the pangolin. You understand? That's where the SARS and all these diseases that's killing everybody on the planet, that come from the Moabites.
Yes.
If they were just eating chicken wings and fried rice, there would be no coronavirus or SARS or COVID-20 or 12. You understand? Right. But they have our store. The Arabs, the East Indians, all of those prayers that we just sent up in Psalms, the 83rd chapter, they have been planning to wipe out our nation for centuries.
That's right.
All of those wars in the Old Testament that the Christian preachers refuse to teach you about, while the child molester is jumping up and down in church and your grandma is so in love with him and everybody's covering for all the little boys Eddie Long has touched and all the little girls that the choir director has touched. You understand? Until they get enough money to hire a homosexual choir director, like a proper church. You understand? We're supposed to have our own store. It's a curse that we don't have our own store. You would never go into the Chinese community and find a bunch of black stores in their Chinese community. You'll never go in the Arab community and find a bunch of black-owned stores selling black-owned goods and products in their community. That is a curse from the Lord. You understand? All right, so keep going.
Verse 18. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body.
Meaning the fruit that comes out of your body, the fruit comes from a seed. You put a seed in your woman, that produces fruit. Those fruit are those children. The Lord said the seeds that you plant, the fruit that you're supposed to get out of your woman is going to have a curse on it. That's why our sons and daughters are dying. That's why they're getting sick. That's why they're getting shot. That's why we got a bunch of damn allergies that did not exist the previous generations, like peanuts and eggs and fish and all kind of allergies that the previous generation that were less integrated, that were less saturated with crack and heroin and saluting the flag and God bless America, that everything that the Lord is telling us not to do, or else these are the consequences. You notice each generation getting sicker easier. You understand? Getting killed from everything. These are consequences. You understand? This is why our children are being harassed by the police. You understand? This is why Percocets, Molly, that's a curse. It done swallowed our youth up. Some sisters said that adults, the elderly, couldn't even get in the retirement communities or the rehab facilities because it's filled with teenagers trying to detox off of Isupk and Percocets. That's a curse from the Lord on our children because we did not obey him. You understand? Keep going, Bubba Kushar.
And the fruit of thy land.
And the fruit of what?
Of thy land.
Thy is a possessive pronoun. That means it shows ownership. These are extremely important words in the scripture. It says the fruit of thy land. Meaning the first part is you're supposed to have land. Most of us live in cities. The land that most of our families own, the next generation of children that were raised in desegregation, they sold just about everything that the previous generations had worked since slavery to own. All of that land in the country, all that land in the South, all of the cities of D.C., Baltimore, gentrification. You cannot go back in most cases and see where your parents grew up. That land, that city is completely different. You can't even find it. In some cases, if you're from Harlem, they'll change the goddamn name to Soho, and you'll never find Harlem again if you're not there. Like, these are curses from the Lord. This is not normal. It's not supposed to happen. The things that happen to blacks and Hispanics, the only way this would happen to any other race of people is if they had an open warfare and everyone recognized that the people who run the war are our enemies and they rule over us.
That's right.
You understand? These religious leaders teach us to accept these things. It's not normal for you to have other nations in your community. It's not normal for you to not own land. We've been here the longest. Next to the so-called Hispanics and the Native Americans, no other race of people has been here as long as us and the white man. The white man murdered everybody and stole the land. So that's how he got it. But how the hell did the Chinese, the Nigerians, the Ethiopians, the Arabs, the Africans, how the hell did they own more land in America than people who got here hundreds of years before them? This is a curse from the Lord because we did not obey him. You come in the ISUPK, you'll find out brothers getting land in the ISUPK.
That's right.
We getting baskets in stores, you understand? Clap it up, clap the up, clap the We turn back and serve the Lord, you understand? And get with real men of the Lord instead of these preachers that you've been making rich for decades.
Right.
This is just a horrible sidebar. And I want to move on quicker with this, but these Christian preachers collect tax-free hundreds of millions of dollars every year. This is where all the wealth in the black community is going. Over $400 billion since the 80s alone. Do you know how much land you could buy with $400 billion? Black people shooting and killing each other over child care. You know how many daycares you could have started with $400 billion since the 80s? Brothers selling drugs because they can't get a job in a city that's filled with Chinese, African, and Arab businesses that only hire their own people. Or maybe one brother to cook the grill, or one Hispanic brother that'll do 10 times as much work for 1/3 of the pay. And they can pay them whenever they decide to, which they do all the time. They did not plan to take care of black people. Commander General Yohana is the actual man of God that he set up, that have full plans to take care of, feed, clothe, house, educate, and counsel, and fix our people. But you give your money to a preacher who has no plan to fix our people. And you don't even expect him to do it because you don't know what a man of God is for. Like, that's how evil these churches are, man. Keep going, Bubba Shaw.
The increase of thy kind.
The kind. Keep reading.
And the flocks of thy sheep.
The what?
The flocks of thy sheep.
Of whose sheep?
Thy sheep.
No, the flocks of Purdue's sheep.
Thy sheep.
No, the flocks of USDA Angus's sheep.
Thy sheep.
No. You must be talking about Giant or Food Line or Weiss, their sheep. You said whose sheep?
Thy sheep.
Black man, you don't understand. You're supposed to have your own sheep.
That's right.
You understand? That's a curse from the Lord that we don't have our own sheep. To make wool, to make leather. You can get leather off of sheepskin. To have your lamb chops. Your own food supply. So that you're not dependent on an Arab or the white man shooting it with hormones and steroids that is half dead before they butcher it and sell it to you in the grocery store.
Right.
We're not supposed to be dependent on another nation. This is what integration does. While you see brothers kissing white girls like Terrence Howard and loving Becky and Princess Frozen and Snowflake, this is what you forfeit by being able to have. This is what Serena Williams forfeits, our right to our own black schools, our own Hispanic schools with our own food supply, our own water supply, and our own businesses, so that we're not slitting each other's throats and hating each other in poverty and whoring ourselves out. You have to forfeit all of this to get your white girl. This is what we forfeit as a people. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 19. Cursed shall thy be when thou comest in.
Meaning when we come in somewhere, we're cursed. A ton of brothers say, if I could just get out of the neighborhood. You hear it all the time.
Right.
If we could just get to a better city, a better neighbor, a better school. When you move out the hood is going with you.
That's right.
You are bringing the curse to the suburbs. Those gangs is not finding themselves to the suburbs. Your son is bringing the gang to the suburbs.
Right.
The weed is going with you. You understand? The police are going with you.
Right.
It's not the neighborhood. It's the people. Like the Lord has curses on us. That's what no one has ever told us outside of the Isupk. Keep going.
And cursed shall thou be when thou goest out.
Man, listen. They used to say that all the time. You damned if you do, you damned if you don't.
Right.
You understand? That's Black 101.
Right.
You understand? This is what the scripture is talking about. You understand? Keep going.
Verse 20. The Most High shall send upon thee cursing.
Hold on 1 second. Who?
The Most High.
No, this was the Illuminati that did this.
The Most
The
High.
Democratic and Republican Party did this.
The Most
The
High.
Bilderberg, the secret societies did this.
The Most High
God, the Lord is doing this. Keep going.
shall send upon thee cursing.
Cursing. The Lord sent these curses on us. You understand? Keep going.
Vexation.
Vexation. You troubled in your mind. Brothers get vexed and need to go get high. You understand? In the streets fighting other brothers. Getting into it with everywhere. Fighting with your woman. Fighting with your kids. Fighting with the lawyers. Fighting with the judge. Everything troubling your spirit.
Right.
This came from the Lord. And it came from the Lord because as a people we decided that we were going to have freedom and integration and rights and not orders to obey his commandments. This is what we forfeited by joining America.
That's right.
This is Martin Luther King's fault. And Abernathy and A. Philip Randolph and Jesse Jackson and Al Sharpton and John Lewis. This is their fault. This is who we followed. And this is our reward. Keep going.
And rebuke.
And rebuke. Constantly being rebuked. Constantly being chastised. The child support court. Constantly being chastised. The abortion clinic. Chastising you for even daring to make more black or Hispanic babies.
Right.
The police chastising you for being born. The court system finding and chastising brothers. Just for being black, Hispanic, or Native American, you are automatically set to be chastised by our oppressor's kingdom.
Right.
It's set up that way. You understand? If we were separate, we'd have our own school curriculum, just like the Jewish man. You would be able to go to school and they would have to teach homosexual rights. You say, nah, you can't do that to black and Hispanic kids. That's against their religious beliefs. That's racial discrimination.
Right.
Because our laws are tied into our nationality.
That's right.
So if you try to teach our black, Hispanic, or Native American sons and daughters to accept your homosexual lifestyle, that's going against our race and our religious beliefs. That's
Right.
discrimination.
That's right.
If we stood and obeyed the Lord, we would have power in the earth.
Right.
Keep in mind, our oppressor hates the Arabs, hates the Chinese, ain't they bombing the Arabs right now? When did 9/11 happen? What year was that?
2001.
It's 20 years now. They've been bombing the Arabs. I've never seen a policeman accidentally shoot an Arab in handcuffs at a traffic stop. Or the Chinese, or the Koreans, or the Vietnamese. If we obeyed the Lord and stayed separate, we wouldn't have to deal with these. We could build our own society in our own cities, in our own town, with our own food, with our own schools, with our own everything. Except the difference beside Rosewood, Florida, and Tulsa, Oklahoma, and Philly is you have to follow the men that God set up in order
That's
to get
right.
the protection
That's
of the
right.
Lord. The Panthers had a decent idea, but they didn't have the Lord with them.
Right.
The Nation of Islam had what they thought was a good idea. The civil rights seemed like a good idea. Let's everybody get equality. However, the Lord was not with them. It's a way that seems right unto a man, but the end result, they can't see the end. You got to follow the prophets of the Lord so you can see what the end will be. The Isupk was telling them all of that was going to fail back when it was successful and popular in the 60s. Before everybody went to jail and became Bloods and Crips and gangster disciples and vice lords and drug traffickers, and the ghetto that used to be farmland now came and became the most dangerous place on earth. You understand? But nobody wanted to hear the prophets of the Lord, just like we did not listen to Moses, what he was saying in this day when we were in the wilderness after we got out of Egypt. Keep reading, Bubba. Sure.
Come on, sir.
In all that thou settest thy hand unto for to do.
In everything that thou settest thy hand. The Africans don't have the restrictions and hurdles that Hispanics have trying to deal with immigration.
That's right.
The East Indians and Arabs, the Chinese, they're not being harassed about their American citizenship status. Immigration Customs Enforcement is not raiding carryouts for illegal Chinese workers. They're not hitting the nail salon asking, where's your papers, where's your papers? You understand? They're not doing this to them. They talk about melanin, melanin, melanin. Well, guess what? The Arabs and Africans are melanated people. They're not being treated and killed like the police is killing black men.
That's right.
There's a difference. There's a difference spiritually, and everyone knows but you, black man, Hispanic, and Native American. He said, what you touch, this curse is going to follow. You understand? Keep going.
Come.
Until thou be destroyed. Keep going.
And unto thou perish quickly.
Until what?
Until thou perish quickly.
Trayvon Martin was 17 years old. What?
Perish quickly.
Till was what? 12?
Perish quickly.
George Stinney, 14.
Perish quickly.
What was it? Tamir Rice, what was he? 12? 11?
Perish quickly.
What was that sister? The cop just showed up and killed her immediately after she just finished getting jumped by 4 sisters with the knife in her hand. They killed that sister in Ohio. In what, a couple of seconds, he showed up and killed her immediately in a crowd full of people. No de-escalation involved at all. He said, perish quickly. That's what's happening to our people.
Right.
You understand? The other nations of people is not dying at 30 and 40 and 50.
Right.
They're not dying like this. People talking about, oh, it's starving kids in Africa, this and that. They in a war zone.
Right.
You understand? We living in a war. Died at 17. How many brothers died in Chicago, Norfolk? You understand? They highlighting it. They're not dying the way that we're dying. They're not dying 500 and 600 per city every year. 200-300 murders every city that we're in. They're not dying the way we are.
Right.
300,000, 350,000 abortions a year. Who dies like that but us? Nobody. I mean, it says, what did it say? Perish quickly. I mean, damn. If you an embryo still in your mother, there's no quicker place to die. You're not even on your own yet. You didn't even make it out the womb before somebody kills you.
Right.
Like, goddamn, there's no quicker death than that, is there? Like, damn. This is what the Lord is saying. There's a reason why this is happening.
Right.
It's not by accident. You understand? Keep going.
Because of the wickedness of thy doings.
Because we eat pork. What?
Of thy doings.
Because we eat shrimp and crab.
Of thy doings.
Because of the wickedness. Because of what?
The wickedness.
Because we in the LGBT community. What?
The wickedness.
Because we vote for our leaders instead of following who God set up.
The wickedness.
Because you're protesting, begging our oppressor to look at us as humans instead of begging the Lord to put our oppressor down like the dogs that they are and separating from them.
Right.
Because of what?
The wickedness of thy doings.
Because of the evil that we do in disobeying the Lord. That's why this happens.
That's right.
There is no other way out of this.
Right.
There's no voting, there's no march, no protest, no more integration. We've done all of that. We spent decades doing that, and the same problems are still here. We got to turn back and obey the Lord. Keep going.
Whereby thou hast forsaken me.
Because we've accepted these things, as a result, we have forsaken the Lord.
Right.
And the Lord take that personal.
That's right.
Like the Lord is not all love. The scriptures say God is a terrible power.
Right.
It didn't say nothing about being good all the time. It did say the Lord was terrible. That's what it says in the Bible.
That's right.
You understand? Preacher may not have read that. Any more on that? All right.
Verse 21.
Keep going.
The Most High shall make the pestilence cleave unto thee.
Meaning the pestilence. Meaning the crops is going to die. We're running out of things. The drug epidemic, a pestilence, a plague that's going to cleave unto us. Running out of food. Cabinets getting empty. You understand? That's why brothers robbing and shooting and selling drugs everywhere.
Right.
The pestilence. These things have cleaved unto us. Asthma has cleaved unto us. AIDS and cancer has cleaved unto the black community. You understand? Weed and Newport addiction and cocaine and Percocet addiction has cleaved unto us, man.
Right.
Gentrification has cleaved unto us. These things destroy our people. If we had not forsaken the Lord by doing wicked, these things would not happen. And when we turn back to the Lord and obey Him, the Lord would then, we'd be able to come from up under these curses and rebuild our nation. You understand? Any more on that? Come, go ahead.
Until he have consumed thee from off the land, whither thou goest to possess it.
Meaning the land, wherever we go to possess it, the Lord is going to send the plagues. You're not going to be able to move out of the ghetto and think that the plagues is going to escape us.
Right.
We're going to have to move out of Christmas and Halloween and Thanksgiving and church and Islam in order for the plague to not follow us. You understand? It's on us. We got to obey the Lord, man. Any more on that?
Nah, sir.
All right, Kyle. All right, so that's it there. We're going to go ahead and wrap it up. Set up these prayers. All right. So just us up here. You got it. Imadium, which means to stand. All right. You got it. Horn.
Nah, sir. Let's proceed to the one.
Okay. No, sorry. It's a second. Up here. The water. All right. Next one.
Laya Shalom.
Laya Shalom.
Imadium, Wapanya Akwadam, which means rise and face the east. That way. All right, you got it?
Karamakar, sir.
We're going to do the Lord's Prayer in the Hebrew. Abano. Shabbat Shemayim. Wadah. Hayah. Isupk. Yahweh. Malakufka. Ba'ah. Batazaka. Hayah. Aisha. Rataza. Hayah. Shabbat Shemayim. Wadananaw. Lakam. Yawam. Wasalaknaw. Wawafnaw. Wasalaknaw. Wawafnaw. Wada'ah. Ya'anaw. Sayawan. Shaynaw, Mayan, Rai, Hayah, Lakah, Malakwa, Wa'ala, Para, Aman, our Father, God in heaven, which art in heaven, hallowed be thy name, hallowed be thy name, thy kingdom come, thy will be done, in earth as it is in heaven, Give us this day, our daily bread, Give us our debt, as we forgive our debtors, and lead us not, into temptation, but deliver us from evil, for thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory, forever. So be it. Hakak the power in the Hebrew. Yahweh. Hashem Yahweh Shah. Baruch Shah. Thundernaw. Hak. Ba'ah. Makhalah. Kal Marawah. Atahar. Atazariah. Hakak. Hafiyam. Lamathiyam. Hakak. Al-Khawa. Ba'ala. Garashan. Hashem Yahweh Shah. So Aman.
Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh, please give us the power. Power to heal, all manner of sickness, and all manner of disease, the power to cleanse the leper, power to raise the dead, power against unclean spirits, to cast them out, in the name of Yahweh. Thank you. So be it.
Psalms 121 in the Hebrew. Asha'ah. Ayanya. Ayan. Yaba'ah. Zoria. Ma'ayin, Yahweh, Aishah, Shemayim, Ra'atazah, Ayathan, Lamawat, Galaka, Yanawam, Maraka, Hana, La'ah, Yanawam, La'ah, Yashun, Shawamar, Sha'ala, Yahweh, Marka, Yahweh, Tazalka, Yamyinka, Yawamam, Hashemah, La'ah, Yakaka, Wayarak, Walayala, Yahweh, Hashemarka, Kawarai, Hashamar, Apnapashka, Yahweh, Hashamar, Za'afka, Wawa'aka, Ma'ita, Aman.
I will lift up my eyes into the hills.
From
whence cometh my help?
From whence cometh my help?
My help coming from Yahweh.
My help coming from Yahweh,
which made heaven and earth. He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He will not suffer thy foot to be moved.
He that keepeth thee, will not slumber. Behold, he that keepeth Yahshua, shall neither slumber nor sleep. Yahweh is thy keeper. Yahweh is thy shade upon thy right hand. The sun shall not smite thee by day. Nor the moon by night. Yahweh shall preserve thee from all evil. You shall preserve thy soul. Yahweh shall preserve thy going out. And thy coming in. From this time forth. And even forevermore. So be it.
Psalms 83 in the Hebrew, Alahai, Al Damayah Laka, Al Tafarash, Al Tashakwat, Kayahana, Awayab Yaka, Hamayawan, Wamasanayaka, Nasha'awa, Ra'ash, it's like Ra'ash, Al Aimaka, Yak Irayamwa, Sabbath, Wayata Ya'ai Tazawa, Al Tazapawanyaka, Amorwa, Wakawa, Walakakida, Magoya, Yala'ah, Yazakar, Kam Nasha'ala, Ayah, Nawa'ai Tazawa, Hadwa, Aljaka, Baryat, Karatwa, Ahalya, Adawa, Wayashama'alaya, Mawa'aba, Wahagaya, Wa'aimalak, Shah, I'm your Shabya, as a war, Ram Ashawar, Nalawa, Imam, Hayuwa, Zerawai, Labanyalawat, Salah, Aisha Laham, Kamadyan, Kasaya Sara'ah, Kayabyan, Menachah, Yashwan, Nashamadwa, Ayanda Ara, Hayuwa, Damad, Adama, it's like Adama. Shayatamwa, Nayamawa, Ka'ibad, Wakazabak, Kal Nasakamwa, it's like Kal Nasayakamwa, Ashar, Amarwa, Nawa, Na'awa, it's like Na'awa. Alahaya, Shayatamwa, Gawgala, Lapanya Racha, Kalahat, Hoyam, Taradatma, Basa Iraka, Wabasa Wapaka, Babahala, Mala'ah, Panyaha, Wayabakwashwa, Shamka, Yabashwa, Wayabaha, Ayya Ay, Waya Khaparwa, Waya Abadwa, Waya Da'aywa, Kaya, Shamka, Yahawa, Labadka, Al, the one. It's like an Al,
keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Keep not thy silence, O Yahweh.
Hold not thy peace. And be not still, O Yahweh. But lo, thine enemies make a tumble. And they that hate thee. Have lifted up their head. They have taken crafty counsel.
against thy people, and consulted, against thy hidden ones, They have said, come, let us cut them off, from being a nation, that the name of Israel, may be no more in remembrance, for they have consulted together, one consent, they are confederate against thee, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, of Moab, and the Hagarenes, the Baal, and Amalek, the Philistines, with the inhabitants of Tyre, Asher also is joined with them. They have hope in the children of Lot. Do unto them, as unto the Midianites, to Sisera, as to Jabin, the brook of Kishon, which perished at Endor. They became as dung for the earth. Make their noses like a red, and like Zered, yea, all their princes, as Sabbath, and as Amunah, who said, let us take to ourselves the houses of Yahweh in possession. Hold my power, make them like a wheel, as the stubble before the wind, as the fire burneth a wood, and as the flame sets the mountains on fire, so persecute them with thy tempest, and fill their and make them afraid with thy storm. Fill their faces with shame. That they may seek thy name. O Yahweh. Let them be confounded. Trouble forever. Yea. Let them be put to shame. And perish. That men may know. That thou, whose name alone is Yahweh, art the Most High. Over all the earth. So be it.
Blessings in the Hebrew. Barakatah Yahweh. Wa Yahweh Shai. Wa Mayaka Allah. Wa Alahayim. Matazad Yah. Alawat Yahana. Ha Alawat Ha Saranyim. Ha Kudazayanyim. Ha Kayayayim. Wa Akwakyi. Yahweh. Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Wa Aman.
Bless you, Yahweh. And Yahweh Shai. And Michael. And the angel. Commanding General Yahweh, the general, the captain, the officer, the troopers, and the sisters, Yahweh, in the name of Yahweh Shai, thank you, so be it.
Bless Israel. Yahweh. Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. Barak Lanawa. Wa Yasha'ala. Wahaba Yasapoyim. Barak. Rapah. Magan. Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai. The Wa'aman.
What we just said was the Most High, in the name of Israel, in the name of Yahweh Shai of Christ, bless us and Israel and the school. Bless, heal, shield, protect our loved ones in the name of Yahweh Shai. Thank you, and so be it. All right. Saul, which means to turn. All right. Men of Israel, gird up thy loins, prepare to salute the Torah. No, yes, come on.
Okay.
Let's be careful.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Oh, so wait, hold on. From here. Close this. There you go.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Oh, sorry. There you go. Do it again? Go. Okay.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Yahweh Ba'ashim Salaki. Right? Go. Yahweh Ba'ashim Yahweh Shai Barakatah.
Mind you, left hand never moves. Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barak Yah.
Right. Men of Israel, I'll give one courtesy salute to the teacher. Men of Israel, Madam Shabbat, Aymadim, Barak, Yahweh Shem Yahushua Barakatham, Yahweh. Class dismissed.